It's our copyright clerk. She put the okay for us to go on air. We have Bertrand, who is our station manager, who is there for coordination, and definitely Reverend Pastor Emmanuel Noel Bisai, who is always there for general supervision. On behalf of the entire English service, my name is Promise Akante. We say you are cordially welcome to today's program, Promises as Promises, promises to be interesting. First things first, let's start with some beautiful music. Tata Kinge, Yaya for us.
Cultural vibes, cultural vibes.
You're welcome back. We enjoyed Tata Kinge from from Yaya, and definitely we are back. If you're just joining us, this is Cultural Vibes coming your way live on 88.4 Royal FM. We are happy to have you in our company, and yes, let's begin by welcoming somebody that I've not seen for a very long time. The only Cameroonian with the Chinese name is Franklin Wanchi. If I mean you have to say good evening in Chinese, talking about the Cam, I don't know. I'm not very sure. I'm on air. I can't jeopardize my position. So Franklin, good evening.
Good evening, Promise. Good evening, listeners. Good evening, everyone. Good evening, Jermaine. Good evening, Bella.
Good evening.
It's been an eternity I've not seen you.
Yeah, not too long. It's only around 3 months I've not been here.
And you're calling you only?
Yeah, because some people do stay like 3 years,
for
30 years.
Why would I stay there without seeing you? Is it legal?
Now I feel a special care.
So you know, I even knew that you were very close to my heart.
Wow.
Yeah.
I'm flattered.
Poor me. And I really thought that you knew. Can you imagine?
I didn't think about that.
How have you been?
No, I'm fine. And I pray that every Cameroonian too is fine. We are healthy. Only that hardship out there is the way it is. We are facing many things in the country and even worldwide. It's not only in Cameroon. Yeah, there's an economic breakdown, but the culture of the people is still there.
Of course, our culture is all we have left after every other thing has been taken away from us. We are still us. So, how am I supposed to say good evening to you again in your mother tongue?
Okay. You say with the more running color Yaoundé win so one win so the more running color Yaoundé. Manji is a Jilia. Ashati Fonpo Emmanuel Warden from J Kunashati Wingo Emmanuel Warden Tasa Nka Deka wo Yaoundé. Ashati Shey Augustin Warden one Tasa and so but wo Yaoundé them. Ashati one win so the more than Yaoundé Yaoundé. We them kule mavitu ora Yuria Linke Royal FM. We dralan for Sunday and you kum Liwong. As a leaji Liwong yo jo charagazin, wojo char tangri, humo oli drali was and why carry. I shot with a man you with a motivatura, you ready, Shigalangs at the Bena, as a suji Gavoshigang Vena. Bear promise.
Beru, Frank, Beru. Beru. From one man to another, he's the man of the house, Abel, Bella, Samaria, Gova.
Una, the mochips, Bubuyamba, so choosing things are really difficult for us back in the village. Good evening.
Hola. I was not supposed to laugh, but you know that as my little grandmother always say that the teeth are placed in a very wrong position.
You know that there are times when a man cries. He cries in the heart.
Yeah,
but tears of the man are not shown on the face.
That is a very strong proverb.
That's what they fool and they is using emotions. Cry and let the tears flow out. It's emotional healing. That's how they make people to be dying of heart attack and dying young because you don't want to express your emotions. Anyway, let me open the debate now. Germaine ta.
Yes. Babongore promise akante babongore nang misi ya Cameroon babongore mori savo le bien mi lo mi kwa ya Royal FM. Ya tamamin basem babongore.
Back to your promise.
Okay. Whatever you said is true. All what you have just said is true. I'm not going to ask what you said, but I know that is true. And from one lady to another lady is Freenway, Crispine Freenway. Abulanimu.
Avant promise, Ubela.
Abon.
Muncha ete nguncham join the studio ichong the muncha ete wonga buwi ete cultural vibes and munka cha ete betawa go bema wa go join ndaga chichong ne nga nyuncham bine bu bong ne sene buwi ete bu ka yi nyocham sene back to from
Well, I can't see. All right, no. Well, ça ton micro marche aussi. Il se que tu as aussi un micro, mais c'est pas assez. Oh là. All right. After one lady, another lady again. Let's have another lady. She is Susan Nanyonge. She is Elela
Ngomba Gwamu.
Ngomba Gwamu. Nanyonge.
Ngomba Gwamu, Promise Akante. Ngomba Gwamu to all Royal FM listeners. Inyoa Jero Karnia, Royal FM. We deliver Gwamu, oh we are Wimboa. Promise Akante, back to you.
Okay. Whatever you said is true. I trust that it is true. You are correct. Well, ladies and gentlemen, the entire plaza is set. Now we are going to unfold our topic of discussion. We are all almost very young people. Well, some of us are not very, very young as compared to some of you sitting on this table, but we are noticing that there is a lot of change in the way our society is evolving. We have a lot of changes in moral standards. We have a lot of changes in the way people behave. The behavioral patterns have changed. Lots and lots of nonchalance, juvenile delinquency, moral decadence, a rapid decline in standards of living, a whole lot of negative aspects that keep coming up. Not to say that there's nothing possible about this generation, of course, but lots of things are changing. Just like something as easy as say good morning, say good afternoon, just greetings. Franklin, I don't know if you have noticed change in our behavioral patterns.
Yes, there's a fall down in the conduct of our generation, because while growing up in the village, we knew that every mother you made on the road is your mother, every father you made on the road is your father. And if you see your father in the morning and you don't greet, it's too bad. So while growing up in the village, we knew that when you meet anybody on the road, you greet. Secondly, there was this religious aspect, or can I call it the moral aspect, that we believe that every human being you meet on the way is God. So if you don't greet God, how will you feel?
Question.
So when I came to live in the urban setup, like from the 2005, when I started living in Houston, in big towns, I realized that you bypass people without greeting them. At times, even greet, they don't care about you. I thought it was in the cities, but not up to 3 years ago that I went back to the village, I realized that children that were born when I was not yet there, when I was no more in the village, when they see me, they just bypass. They greet people they know. So there is something wrong somewhere. There is something wrong somewhere. So you also realize that in those days, when you were like playing around and you see any grandmother passing, carrying a heavy load, it was your duty as a young person to help that grandmother carry the load back to the house. But these days, at times you even want to help and the grandmother will feel like you want to steal her. So these days, I don't know what is happening. I don't really know what is happening. Help has become a form of stealing, or at times you want to help, they want you to help and you don't want to help. I don't really know what our world today has turned into. Also, there's a story I read on a social media, although I don't believe in it, where someone was like, they said this guy was asking a woman to help him pick his purse from the ground. Yeah, was it a purse or a ring? His ring, that his ring fell from the purse.
Ring, yes.
So now the woman was like, no, I cannot pick it. And the guy was insisting. When it was becoming a tie, everybody asked the guy to pick it, and when the guy picked the ring, he became mad. That's what I got. I don't know how true that is. That is why I'm saying that these days, to help is a problem, and not to help is a problem. So we don't really know what has happened to Africa. That those things that we used to believe that Africa is one. Pan-Africanism is not more within us. What is wrong with our generation? We don't really know what is happening.
Yep. Germaine, you are both a daughter and a mother.
Yeah.
If you look at the way you were brought up by your own mother and the way your kids are, I know they are still very tender, but of course they are at the point where they can reason, they can understand that you have to say good morning, you have to greet, you have to answer, you have to be polite. Do you think that there is something wrong with the way, I don't know whether it is us, the parents of now, who are failing, or that the society in general is failing? What do you think is not going on rightly?
The society in general is failing. Why am I saying so? Because nowadays you may like want to help somebody and it turns back to you negatively. How? I remember when I was 10 years, there was a grandmother. She was seriously disturbing people in her compound a lot. She was even the founder of of that family in that compound where they were living. So she was disturbing. She would start to talk from 4 a.m.
Aye.
shouting all over the compound, cursing people. There's a lot of curses
negative words
was coming out of her mouth from 4 a.m. and it's going to end at 7 a.m. So you imagine from 4 a.m. somebody is shouting, insulting you. You are going to see your life, you will be like this, you will be like this. And so when the woman was already in her late those were her late days now, she was already giving up, she was already so ill, and nobody was around to help her. Why? Because
she used her mouth to send people away.
Yeah, because we knew something when we were little. We knew that when you help somebody who's already dying, either the person is going to change you are going to die, and the person is going to recover. So everybody was now afraid to go and help her, that as she's like this wicked like that, I may go and help her. After that, I'm the one going to die and she's going to recover. So she was abandoned to herself until finally she gave the ghost. So I cannot accuse the young generation or the old generation or the older, I don't know. The most important thing is that everybody is lost, because people are suffering a lot financially. A problem of money, poverty have made people to be not to really care again. If somebody is doing something to you, it is because there is an interest. You see, I can help you, maybe mommy, okay, let me start to help you. After that, maybe you like this, you are coming every day to help. Are you sure that it's not because that my child who is coming from Europe like that, as he's coming, he will be bringing things? So
I understand.
There is a lot of thing. There is a lot of thing, but the most important thing is that let us just keep on. Us, the young generation, we should just keep on doing what is good and follow our instinct. It's very important. Very important to follow what your heart is asking to do. Don't, because at times the Holy Spirit may speak to you. It's very important to follow what your heart says.
Very important. That's right. Now we are discussing on what accounts for the drop in moral values that we are witnessing today. What accounts for the drop in our moral values, in the standards of behavior, and an increase in juvenile delinquency? Where are we faulting? What is wrong? What is not going on right? Who should do what? Where that the person is not doing? Those are the aspects. Is our tradition disappearing? Our cultures and traditions, are they disappearing? Are they fading away? Are they being diluted? What is happening to our African cultures and traditions, those values, those core values that used to make us unique? Like, we know that as Africans we had some certain values that were known, like this is what makes us us. What has happened or what is happening to these traditional values? I'm going to turn to you, Susan Nanyonge. You are the younger generation. I keep my fingers crossed that you haven't slipped into juvenile delinquency, because you are right here working with me. So you are still on the straight line. But when you see people of your age, do you think that something is wrong somewhere?
I do think that something is wrong everywhere. I wouldn't just say somewhere, but everywhere. It's true that I don't really have a lot of experience, but personally I'd say there are lots of problems on all angles, because it's true I am kind of ending the 20th century in terms of birth, yes, the 1999s and all, but for other people of my age and maybe slightly older than me, they have kind of degraded into the moral decadence. I don't know why. I don't know if I should say I was spared because of the kind of upbringing I had.
Exactly,
I don't know.
Exactly.
But even then, I think the upbringing I had was from parents of, let's say, my parents of an age range that is, let's say, kind of equal to the parents of my other age mates age range. So there should be some sort of, let's say, maybe equity when it comes to upbringing and when it comes to these moral values, because of course our parents had these traditions that we are trying to bring back
and safeguard and protect.
Exactly. But we instead see that most of my peers are not really following up. So I don't know if it is that it comes now from their self-consciousness when they decide to follow, let's say, what is not right. And there is this phrase which is just so trending, so fashionable: don't judge me. Don't judge me. Like, they just use it as an excuse to do things that are not acceptable, be it in God's eyes or in the eyes of the law, and they claim it to be don't judge me, because the same Bible has said that we should not judge others. So now people just use things. They want to draw the curtains to their side, the one that pleases them, they follow it. And
that's right.
So to me, there are so many aspects. One may blame parents, one may blame the children themselves, one will blame westernization, one will blame. And to me, the case is even worsening, because if people of my age range are, and even slightly older than me, are going into this depravity, you can imagine their own children who are...
It's a fear.
You can imagine their own children.
Yeah.
There was one day, that reminds me, when I was at home last year. I was following up I was just scrolling on statuses on WhatsApp, and I saw this video of a little girl. I'd say she was 3 or 4 years old, wearing, they made this video collage. She was wearing some kind of skirts that I think even at my 50 years I'll not be able to wear, with some halter tops that I don't think it's so horrible.
Let's take this caller first, and then we'll come back to you. Hello, good evening. You're welcome. Bonsoir.
Oui, excusez-moi, vous précisez. Bon, c'est une sœur qui demandait, qui voulait avoir un renseignement par rapport à... Bon, je ne sais pas si une émission, s'il y a une émission qui est un peu...
Yes, you're on to Cultural Vibes.
Alors?
It's Cultural Vibes on Royal FM, yes.
Ah, ici en direct alors?
Yes.
Ouais, je ne sais pas, je voulais qu'on me prenne en offre parce que je voulais un renseignement.
D'accord, rappelez very soon. Dans quelques minutes. Alright. Our numbers are 655-54-3457, 655-54-3457, 671-157-321. What do you think accounts for the drop in the rapid decline of moral values? Yes, Suzanne, you were saying something.
So the little girl in question was she was dressed in such a very obscene manner.
Okay.
Very obscene manner. And when I saw it, I couldn't retain myself, because usually I see some kind of things and I just pass on. When I saw it, I was like, no, this is not good. Why are our parents doing this to our younger ones? And in fact, to their babies, to our offspring, to our little ones? Why are they doing this? And to them, they think it is fashionable and stuff. When I wrote that, I kind of responded on my status. When I wrote that, I had like many replies in agreement, but there was one person that I was actually shocked that person will react on the opposite side. She was like, no, I should let the child be. It's not my child to begin with, and I should let the child be, and that there is nothing wrong in what the child is doing. The child is merely living her life, and we should not judge. So I became a judge at that point in time. I am so surprised till today. That's something that really marked me last year. I don't know why and how I became a judge, and it was so bizarre, because the person in question, we have been through missionary training. We went through all these how they call it,
Different stages is Christian groups in church.
Yeah, exactly, and from the school too, because I went to a boarding school and everything.
Going to boarding school is one thing, and letting the boarding school go
through you is another thing. So that's just what I came to understand.
A missionary, you could go to a mission school. You could go to a mission school, right? And then all the teachings of the mission school just don't touch you in any way. So they could be flying over you or passing in front of you or passing behind you, but not getting to you as a person. So going to a mission school, I know that is one step, but that's no guarantee for having somebody who will be straightforward.
That's what I really came to understand.
Some of our leaders in this country went to mission schools. I'm not going to call any name. So let's do that topic at that point. So I'm not going to say anything about that topic anymore.
Yes,
but I'm just saying that, okay, I'm trying to corroborate your points to say that maybe our place is married because he's a father on this table. We used to know that a child is only your child when the child is still in the mother's womb. Once that child is born, that child becomes everybody's child. The entire society, the entire village has the responsibility of bringing up that child. Maria, am I wrong or right?
Yes, that was actually part of the culture.
Yeah, our culture.
That was
our tradition.
Our culture.
That is the upbringing.
Because in our culture, the words uncle, cousin, nephew do not exist. It is my brother, my sister.
Yes.
And when you go look at the word mine in English, it's a possessive noun, if I'm right. And when it is possessive, it means that something belongs to you.
To you.
And there is an adage that says that if you cannot hurt yourself, you cannot hurt somebody. And that is why, to answer your question, when a child was delivered in a community, it becomes the child of the community. Or when you do something which is wrong, somebody discipline you. And that is why when some of us were growing up, when somebody say, I will tell your father, you prefer to kneel down and
that's beating.
I will prefer to beat me.
Do it now.
Because reporting you to your father had a lot of intricacy. First, your father will tell you that you have dragged the name of the family to more.
Yes.
That is it.
Secondly, you see, you will be bringing some thematics that will force you to be disciplined. And our parents in those days, she said she ended the 20th century. We were born at, like I said, the middle towards the end of the 20th century, where we still have some little ideas. The little colonial tendency was still there, where the way has not become androic in that light. Where we live in a society where we're taught, when we look at those who have gone to school, I mean those who have PhD, doctor, teachers, we're looking at them like role models. And since the advent of what we call today human right, it has actually come to destroy that culture. Because that child that was a community child is no longer the community child.
Yeah.
And that is why somebody will answer Susan, is it your child? Leave that child to live her life.
I was so shocked.
Because those who colonized us and discovered that the colonization training they gave us as instead make us to be responsible and hardworking. They saw into it that if we let this group of people for the next 100 years with what they have, they will become so powerful.
Yep.
So for us to destroy them, we should bring in the issue of laws. This is my right, you don't infringe into my right, or else I will take you to court. If I flog the child of Franklin, I risk going to 10 to 15 years in prison.
They will call it child abuse.
They will call it child abuse. And even though there are some people that exaggerate it, but I mean on the aspect of discipline. And if I know that talking to somebody's child, will it land me to prison? There's no need for me to do that. So that is how people started to abandoning themselves from that community life. Because when we go the community or the village life, we're in cultural vibes. Everybody knows everybody.
Yeah.
And everybody knows what everybody has eaten on that day. Because this is the community life. And where sometimes your attitude will serve as your best discipline master, because you see the way others are behaving, you are compelled to align yourself under that discipline. Because when we want to talk about discipline, people always ask, for those who know me when I was growing, they will know that when in those days they were saying they passed a law, decisions was like a law, and you have to respect it. And that is why some people say in those days we have a lot of mathematicians, because people live their life with respecting laws. And you know, solving mathematics is like obeying the rules. Once you obey the rules, you solve the math, you have the answer. But when you go against the rule, you cannot have an answer. And that's why they always look at mathematicians in that light. So life was like mathematics. But since the advent of this human right, where we see children that have rights, even you the father, you cannot discipline your child in a way. They will say that it is against human rights. So you see,
Child rights
are helpless in that light. The second aspect is the fact that Promise Akanteh, evil has invaded the world today.
Yep.
Because today, when we go back, let me take the place of role model. We knew that for you to be successful in society, you need to school. That is why when we, in those days when we were growing up, when they tell you that a teacher is passing around your neighborhood, you prefer to go and hide. You need to be in order. But today, the world has made evil, or evil has made the world to understand that for you to be influential in your society, you need to be a thief. You need to be a drug addict. You need to be somebody that carry yourself. You need to have money by all costs.
Imagine that.
And since these young people want to have money by all costs, sometimes they are supposed to enter into places where they are not supposed to enter. And the conditions, because I know somebody will say, do you want to tell us that in those days, in the African culture, we did not have secret society that will give money to people? It is a phenomenon that was there. In those days, it do exist, but the conditions that were given in those days are not the same conditions that are being given today. That is why you see somebody will say, pick my ring, and somebody will say, I will not pick it. So you discover that the conditions that are in those days, for those who have read books in mystic, we are in cultural vibes, you will discover that the mystical books, where you take, for example, something like, include the family stuff, you will require for you to do what? Maybe to kill somebody, or to do whatever thing they call it, the sacrifice. Because for those who know the power of the blood, those who have read books on the power of the blood, so they were using those things now too. Sometimes they will tell you, go and bring a virgin, go and bring those stuff, so the blood of the sacrifice, all those stuff. So that was the condition they were giving them. But today that is not the condition. The condition is that go into the world and multiply by committing a lot of evil. That is why you see, for you to have jobs, somebody will say that arrange your buttocks for me. For you to be somebody in society, they will give these people a different condition. Go to the street and pretend that you are a mad person. If you succeed to be mad for 30 days, that's how your money will come. You see somebody will get mad for 30 days. You're lucky if I can go mad for 30 days and then I have money, no problem. So you discover that the conditions have not been the same. That is why you see that wave of evil has increased. We have different aspects that are coming. Girls admire girls, boys admire boys. You see the rate
they have their rights.
The rate of alcoholism, drug trafficking has also increased. Sometimes you ask yourself that we say we are in a poverty alleviated country, Cameroon, but where do people have that money to drink for 24 hours round? You will discover that the evil will supply them the money so that they should be able to do what? To propagate, because they are in a phase, they call it the evangelism phase, go into the world and multiply evils. So that is what they are in this phase and they are doing. You should not be surprised. You go on the street, you are walking, you see somebody just come and hit you hard. It is the propagation state of committing more evil. You work for somebody, the person will decide to give you money where he wants to give you. Not that he doesn't want to give you the money, not that the money is not there, but the people are trying to make him to suffer. It is part of the condition. So you see, when all those things comes into the society, it propagates all that we are witnessing today. That is an aspect. You see, okay, they increase the number of music, and you see people are propagating music, and the innocent try grow up because they pass through some of those channels, and the innocent try grow up and listen to music. Isa, la, Saosi, and the way they are dancing it on the different channels, televisions that we have. For those who have studied, especially those in the communication world, will tell you the effect of cable television. And I recently, somebody even wrote another book, the effect of social media, which is causing a lot of ravaging and is doing a lot of evil today. So you see, those are some of the situations. They knew that technology involved in a way where parents can block certain channels for their children not to watch certain programs and all the like. They decided to come in with the social media. And you see, at a certain point in time, if you don't provide a telephone to your 3-year-old child, the neighbor will tell you that no, we are in a new phase, give that child a telephone. Or the child will tell you that no, in school they say we should buy
distance learning. You want to do how?
So that is the propagation stage.
Every week,
because they know you cannot quote the social media or all that of stuff. For how far are you going to do it? So while we are still working on how to code it all, but there is something that has actually made this thing to reach the level that it is, because people have decided to turn their back from their creature. Remember, there is a Bible saying, or those who are theologians maybe will be in a better place to quote it. They say, train up
a child in the way he should grow.
It is a very, very significant phrase in the Bible. Because if you want to interpret it on a simple terms, Promise Akante, you will discover that if you go to a farm and clear the farm, and you decide to plant cocoyam, there is no day you come and harvest plantain.
Definitely.
Or else you want to tell me that you are a thief. If you plant palm tree, there is no way you come and harvest coconut, meaning that you collected it from somewhere. And a lot of people have misinterpreted that phrase and maybe put it in a different way. Train up a child in a way the child will grow, will not depart from it. It's like our farm work. When you plant the cocoyam, you need to weed it. You need to make sure that you supervise it, you put a closer eye on it so that insects should not what.
That is it.
So the train of the child is also that aspect that we parents, like you say, some of us are parents, we need to be like the surveillance camera. You understand?
Yeah.
To monitor, to know the behavior, you need to know your child. There are times when I enter the house, I hear certain statement, I just call you, I say, come. Who have you talked to today? who came here? I said, you discuss with somebody. And finally you discover that somebody has entered, because when you go closer to them, because one thing is that some parents will think that the discipline aspect is for you to bully the child, no. Scare the child. The discipline aspect require that you also play a surveillance style of life. There are times, don't wait when the child is in secondary school before you visit the child. When the child is schooling, sometimes do surprise visit. Because when you put children on aware that at any moment my father can come here, at any moment, you see sometimes when you are even living, a smart one will ask you, Daddy, will you come to our school today? And maybe you think that he's just asking for asking sake. No, those children are very intelligent. You say, if I'm coming, the whole day you will be very vigilant. You will not even make noise in class. Because you don't want a situation where you will come to class and then maybe the teacher will, because I remember
he or she's kneeling down.
Voila, when I was teaching, there are some parents when they visit, they say, how is my child faring? I say, I don't know. Come, ask the class, and you will surprise that promise. You as a class teacher, you think that you know that child, you don't know. But when those parents they come and stand in front of the class and those children are talking,
You confirm.
You the teacher, you will even surprised that, hey, this is what has been happening. you will get revolution. So that's what I always do. Say, come. When the parent will come and stand, you see the friends will start. On this day, he took something from this one bag. You know that the spirit of Eve is already naturally in that aspect. As a wise father, you know what to do. On this day, when we're going like this, so those are the aspects. And at one point, when a parent wants to come to class, you see the child is saying, no, I don't want you to come to class because he's afraid that the friends will review certain type of things. So that aspect of that training of the child, which is the vigilant aspect of it, we no longer do it again. We don't care. All that we need is to satisfy the child. It's the satisfaction stage. I'm going out. You don't want to know with who are you going out. I'm doing this. You don't want to know. The problem is that my child should be happy. You don't even supervise.
That is it.
I remember a situation where I and my senior brother, we left to go to Limbe.
Yeah.
That was the day they wanted to go and do for me a mission in a secondary school in Limbe. My father permitted us to travel, but do you know that he also took another car and was behind us?
Wow.
But we were going. He took his phone. Then when he came, we finally met at a relative residence. He said, no, I do not have confidence. I was afraid that maybe Shishi have never come to town. You understand? He said those things. He was coming.
Just follow you.
No, he was coming to
I understand.
verify.
I understand something.
That if actually you have paid the school fees, if actually you have, but
Even
another
the
I understand something. When you say that, I understand something.
those aspects, we are no longer doing it. When you want to do it, others will look at it like you are putting pressure
on the child.
No, that is part of the training of the child.
That is it.
The vigilant role, the supervisory role, the advisory role, all those stuff. When you do all these things, you will hardly discover that your child will go what. Because if you ask Susan, who is maybe one of the youngest among all of us here, will tell you that each time she leave the boarding school and come back to the house, the best friend was the mother. And the mother will always think her, how is school, how is this, and before she realized, she will be telling the mother certain things. And because of the closeness, you see the mother will know how to do what?
How to
play that train up the child role. But today all of us are chasing money. When we reach the house, we are already tired. Some of us will prefer to get drunk. Some of us will prefer to hang on our Android phone. You see, that is what they have succeeded in doing. Taking those that are closer to you, far away, and taking those that are far away from you, very close to you. That is why sometimes when I sit, I discover that everybody is so concentrated with the phone. I also decide to be communicating now with you people with the phone. They say, okay, I'm here, you're right. I say, because you don't want to realize, go and give me water. Say that, but I'm here, you cannot say, I say, no, because you concentrate on your phone. So you see, we need to, we should not only look at the aspect that, no, when we do some of these things promise, we'll go a long way.
655-543457, 655-543457, 6711-57321. Let's see if we have someone on the line. Solomon, is there somebody on the phone that we can have? Someone on the phone that we can have. What accounts for the drop in our moral values? Why the high rate of juvenile delinquency? Why the disappearance of our cultures and traditions? Let's have someone on the line. Hello, good evening, you're welcome. What do you think?
All right, this is my view with respect to the drop in moral values over the years. I will advance two reasons. One, the first reason, staying away from parents. And the second reason, the media. In years past, most children used to grow up beside their parents and grandparents, and I bet you the moral values that the parents and grandparents taught to the children contributed very much to the lives of the children, and they grew up with those moral values. But now I can say more than 60 or 70% of the youths mostly grow up in towns. They hardly grow up beside their parents and grandparents, and they cannot learn those values again. And equally, the second point that I raised, the media. What children watch on the television, what children watch on social media, Facebook, WhatsApp, and other social media platforms, what they watch on that, they grow up with those things, and moral values become very difficult to be instilled in them, because they grow up watching all of those things and they believe that is the best thing, and they grow up with those kind of attitude, and so it becomes very difficult to instill moral values again into them, and that is why moral values will keep on dropping and dropping. So I advance two reasons: staying away from parents and grandparents, and then equally the social media as a cause of drop of moral values.
Thank you very much. Your opinion really, really counts. And yes, the numbers remain open for you to call, or you text us on 655-543457, 671-157321. Those are our numbers. Let's have a musical breather, and then we will come back. We continue with what's happening to us. It's Bobe Yoruma Afuakom. We hit ourselves. I think we actually do hit ourselves, right?
Musique c'est très dangereux. Jalousie. Dans l'amour c'est très dangereux. Jalousie. Une maladie qu'on ne peut pas se soigner. Jalousie. Une maladie qui dépasse le sida. Jalousie. Dans la musique c'est très dangereux. Jalousie. Dans l'amour c'est très dangereux. Jalousie. Une maladie qu'on ne peut pas se soigner. Jalousie. Une maladie qui dépasse le sida. On dit souvent que la crainte de Dieu, c'est le début de la sagesse. Est-ce qu'aujourd'hui, il y a vraiment la crainte de Dieu chez nous? Jalousie, même c'est quoi? Bahana, ouais, Dieu, oh, menene beke chikio adunia jalousie même pas bahana wetio menene beke chikio adunia Francisco de la GT do di Ghana même à la radio télévision oh jalousie oh ça fait mal oh nasala nini oh bandigo oh maman nangai oh zambe dans la police c'est plus dangereux jalousie dans l'armée c'est plus dangereux jalousie gendarmerie c'est plus dangereux jalousie dans les églises c'est plus dangereux jalousie dans la police c'est plus dangereux jalousie dans l'armée c'est plus dangereux jalousie gendarmerie c'est plus dangereux jalousie dans les églises c'est plus dangereux jalousie au stylo noga Django Django c'est plus solo aïe 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 comment dans la musique c'est très dangereux dans l'amour c'est très dangereux une maladie qu'on ne peut pas se soigner une maladie qui dépasse le sida eh ben ciao mille fois merci à toutes les DJ Mousse de mousse le maestro Jam 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 la police c'est plus dangereux jalousie dans l'armée c'est plus dangereux jalousie gendarmerie c'est plus dangereux jalousie dans les églises c'est plus dangereux jalousie Minet Dieu donné Francky Dosa Dieu donné nous ici Raoul Chegue Blaise oh Francisco animez les gars il a fallu du temps. Jam 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 jam
Cultural vibes, cultural vibes, cultural vibes.
Iya tamanyomba tumangona
Iya
mau mawe
iya Anjay Tiens, Royal FM voilà ça donne oh village drinks I miss the village for real. You do this, you're eating roasted corn and granules and then drinking palm wine and lots of stories are happening around you. And yes, some of those values are being transmitted from up to down. And I think we are missing out on those things. Like, my daughter will still sit and remember some of the stories her own grandmother used to tell her. That's my mother, of course, who would tell her. And she's like, Mommy, I said I'm not going to the village. I'm like, Ola, this child is definitely missing a lot of things. And then she'll ask me, like, for example, she had a story my mom told her about her own that her own mom also told her, and she asked me that, did my grandmother used to also tell me stories the way her grandmother was telling her? So I said, of course. Wow. Do you think I don't know how much I have grandmother in this world? I also had a grandmother. I don't think that I didn't have a grandmother as well. And there were lots of things that she will sit and recount now, and she still feels happy about it, like having respect, like The other day we were discussing. I don't know where the topic started, and we always have things to say to each other. So I can never really tell you how each topic begins. So she said that my grandmother told me that she was telling me though that her grandmother told her that in life you have to grow up. You go to school, you finish attending school, you get married, you have your children, you raise them up, and then they too will grow up and have their own children, and then you become a grandparent. I say yes, that's true. That's true. So she asked, like, apart from that, what else do you do? I said, you can also impact on people's life. You can do something to improve people's lives. You can do something to make people feel more comfortable. And luckily enough, they were reading a passage in their English reader. We should talk about a philanthropist. So she said, so you can also be a philanthropist. I said, yes, you can be a philanthropist. You can affect the world and make the world a better place than the way you met it. So it's not only about you going to school, having a job, getting married, having children, but you can also create an impact so that even when you're no longer on earth, the people who talk about you remember that you talk about Nelson Mandela today, we talk about people who are no more, but because they did a lot of things to impact humanity, we're still talking about them. So I try to imagine where the conversation began with her grandmother, for her to tell her these things like you have to grow up, study, have a job, get married, have your children. And I remember one time my grandmother and I were discussing, and she said that we are living in a reverse world, that our world is moving backward, because in their time they used to grow up, get married, and then have children. Now in our time we have children before we finish growing up, and then we get married at the end, if at all we end up getting married. So we have reversed the society. And at one point it was like, yeah, this woman she's right to an extent, because a whole lot of things, you have a lot of single moms out there, and so many people think that if you don't do like this, you're out of fashion. I remember some people telling me that the fact that I don't wear short dresses, I'm not living my youth. That as a young person, I should wear short dresses, I should dress scanty. That I'm not living my youth entirely. I'm like, do you really think so? I'm going to turn to Crispin, who has not said almost anything in this studio. You are dressed in kaba, and you're even tying down this. Do you feel less pretty when you dress in your kaba?
Oh my God, no! I feel instead very, very pretty, and I really, really feel relaxed compared to some other tight clothes that I wear. Because when you some people think that the fact that you wear tight clothes and short ones, it makes you look more beautiful, and maybe on the way you may have more suitors or something, whereas it is not the case, because no matter the dress you wear, if somebody is like attracted to you, it's going to happen. So I feel very comfortable when I wear my kaba, my long dress. I even feel more comfortable, and I think that I even call more attention.
Really?
Yes.
Because when we talk about Susanna Nyonge, do you think that as a young person, someone will have to convince you or force you to dress in your traditional regalia?
As a young person, nobody has to force me or convince me, because it should come from my own let's say aim, or my own point of view. But personally, I don't see that if I want to wear traditional wear, I'll wear. If I don't wear traditional wear, it's maybe because I don't have it, or I'm yet to get it. So I have no problem personally with wearing traditional attires. Like Crispin said, in fact, everything she said I just think, because it's just the way I think too. Traditional attires are more beautiful. Kaba, first of all, that kaba is from my traditional background, Bakwerisawa people. So we love the gests when it comes to the traditional attire, and I personally feel proud, and I admire people when I see them showcasing their traditional culture via their traditional regalia. I just love it. To me, it portrays the beauty of the Cameroonian culture, that's its cultural diversity. When I see people from their different tribes wearing their different traditional attires, it makes me just marvel. And when I myself wear it, I'm like, no, I feel very comfortable in it. Be it a kaba or be it something which is traditional, I just feel so comfortable in it. And I don't need anything special to feel more beautiful or more attractive or whatever, like what is being preached out here by society to our young, to my comrades, to my female comrades, because they feel, some of them feel so, how do they say it, it's true, we'll talk of peer pressure, but there's this other word I'm looking for, influenced. Voilà. They feel influenced because when they see one person doing this, they too want to go and do the same thing. And even if it's not even if it doesn't suit their personality, they will still go into it. I personally, I don't follow the crowd. I don't like to follow the crowd. If it's something I want to do, I do.
Jermenta, you are a mother and a daughter, and I'm going to ask you, do you think that you can raise your children to love their mother tongue, love their traditional regalia, love their traditional meal? Will you want your children to continue with the cultures and traditions passed down to you by your own parents and grandparents?
Okay.
I don't touch it. I don't touch it with correct point. Go ahead.
It's very important. First of all, in my house, every weekend I'm cooking traditional meal.
Really? I will visit you. Sanga,
kok, all what is traditional. I'm already making them to take it now. It's not only like stew, fish, no. Every weekend we go
purely traditional.
Village. Yeah.
Wow.
It's very important.
That's
for
important.
me, because the child should not only be used with the stew. No. This is what build my bones, because vegetables, actually, our parents, our forefathers, they never knew a lot of stew, nor a lot of spaghetti. Also, they were only focused on natural food.
And they were still healthy.
That is it.
Somebody's on the line.
Yes,
All right. Let's have a caller on the line. Hello, good evening. You're welcome.
Good evening, my friends and everybody in the house. This is Bobby Marvel.
Bobby Marvel.
Yes.
I
Are you getting me?
I'm getting you. I'm trying to greet you. No, it's
Yes, this is Bobby Marvel. It has been long.
It's been a long
Happy New Year to
time.
everybody in the house.
Baba Tonto Bobby.
Thank you. Come to Bobby.
My able chairman.
Thank you, Bobby.
Yes, I just wanted to greet to participate in the program also.
Thank you very much. Go ahead.
Yeah, we are listening to you. Hola.
Okay, he wanted to.
Bobby Marvel, hope that you come back before the end of the program. And I think we were still with Jermaine. You said that your children already are initiated into traditional food, which is already the first beautiful step. Do they also dress traditional? Do you already buy them jean and t-shirt, or you make sure that they also wear traditional regalia?
Okay, the truth is that in my tribe we don't have a specific regalia that men are wearing. It is only with women, you see. And those people that I used to see like wearing traditional regalia, real tradition, is only our chiefs, those paramount chiefs now, those fonts and the notables.
Kokumba.
Yeah, because what we can only do is that we can sew them these fabrics, simple fabrics.
Okay.
Yes, but there's no specific regalia that men are having in our tradition. Us, we are having kaba. Yeah, in all it form, any color or how it's kabangondo that we are having.
There is back of trees you go with.
Yeah, of course.
Well, you see, there is no tradition now.
No, that's why I was saying that it is for
the chief.
For
The
the
traditional
chief,
rulers.
yeah,
The
yeah,
kukumba.
yeah. It is for the kukumba now.
Kokumba.
Yeah,
But
somebody simple cannot wear back of trees.
But now, let me turn to you, Frank. you speak your mother tongue really fluently. You speak it and you go, you flow. Do you think that the youths, this generation that is sliding off, still feels comfortable speaking the mother tongue in public the way some of us feel?
Having it in the reality, when I look at girls like Christine and Suzanne speaking their dialects, I feel like wow. Because where I live, actually, I walk around the university.
It's cultural that's made them to speak it.
Yeah.
Then we should thank cultural
it's
vibes.
true.
We should thank cultural vibes.
It's
Yes, it's true because the other time I came here.
It's going to be a
Christine, are
whole
you
thesis.
serious?
This program is going to be a whole thesis in either probably an HND or a bachelor degree or a PhD defense. The influence of cultural vibes on people and their
if they say so,
traditions.
I can say yes because the last time I came here, Christine was not as fluent as she is today.
Thank you.
The last time I was here. So I was like saying this. I work in an area where I mostly met university students. It's very normal for you to see boys moving along the road speaking their dialect, but very difficult with girls. I don't know why. I've walked around that area there for close to 10 years now, so I'm talking out of experience. So actually, something they used to insult us in school.
So let's take a call on the line first. Hello. Okay, let's continue.
Okay. They used to insult us in school that when I bounce on when I would like country talk.
Oh yeah, and to them it was an insult, right?
Yeah, to us we thought they were insulting us, but later on I realized that we were simply keeping back to our roots. Because there's no bouncer girl or boy that grew up with us that doesn't know English. At times they will tell us that we don't pronounce very well. To be candid with you, you can never pronounce an English word to the end as an Englishman.
There is even among those in the UK, there's no harmonized pronunciation. You have the Scottish in their own English, you have the Canadians in their own English, you have
the Irish,
from Wales,
the Irish tongue is still there.
So you should understand that there is no standard one particular formula which is called English pronunciation. American is different, Canadian is different, Australian is different. So why should we struggle to be like who?
That's a question.
We have
That's
our
a question. Be
identity,
yourself.
yes.
With our generation today, with all those fears, because I realized that back in the quarters, you will see a lady who only completed class 7. Maybe she didn't even make it in her first school. She's struggling to speak wrong English to the child, pretending that she wants her child to grow up in a modern way, forgetting that when you teach your child your dialect, the child gets everything. Let me not lie to you, Promise. There were times that we used to study our mathematics in school in the dialect. And when they give it to you back in the dialect, you get it, you grab it more easier than in English. There may be certain words in English that they are so difficult for you to interpret. But when you study and you interpret the thing in the dialect, like reading something, it is written in English, but you are interpreting in your brain in the dialect. You know it very well more than trying to interpret it in English. Like today, I saw a word on social media and I was asking somebody if it's an English word. They were laughing at me. Somebody asked me that, Frank, even you? I said, no, even me, I don't know me. The name was, the thing was like Scandemic 2019. I said, I don't know about the thing. Who can explain to me? Scandemic, something like that.
I'm sure it should be a mixture of two words like scandal and pandemic.
That was, I was thinking something
love playing with words.
I was thinking whether it means scamming, pandemic, something like that. But when I asked the person who even wrote it, she told me that she also saw it like that.
Can you imagine?
So because my trouble is if I should have it in my dialect, I'll get it. There were people who were laughing at me when I came to level 1 in the university. I was not able to speak Pidgin English fluently. I had to learn Pidgin English because of something that I was doing in Pidgin English in school. They were laughing at me because I only knew how to speak my dialect and English. So what I really realized is that encouraging our children to speak our dialect is very important. Mostly amongst us who live here in town, in Yaoundé. When I was growing up, I happened to take my class 1 to class 7 education in the village. There was a program that they used to teach us the dialect. There was Lamso. I still have books in Lamso.
Wow.
So there was a time here in Yaoundé that I organized some Lamso classes during holidays for children who are here because you cannot come to a class and start teaching the dialect. Because in a class of around 100 children, 10 are from this tribe, 2 are from the other tribe, just like that. You cannot teach a dialect. So they need to learn their dialects back in their houses. When you come back to the house again, okay, because I'm a teacher and I don't want my child to pronounce English in the wrong way, I want to speak to him in English. No, you are killing that child. Because you already have your own identity. Now you are sending the child out of his or her own identity. So I really encourage the father to speak the dialect back home.
Yep.
But Promise,
yes,
there is something that is very important. I want to call to our grandfathers and uncles, please, when our children are coming to holidays, put the English and the French aside and only speak the dialect.
Exactly.
Very important, because when you are even sending your child to the village, you even see again that are still speaking either French or English. You are wondering again that finally it was good that you should stay with me.
Really?
Yes, that is why I'm only begging for grandparents, even those who are here in town. I beg your grandchildren, speak dialect to them.
Before going to grandparents, Jermaine, I'm going to. I love using ourselves as examples because we were born far away from the village. We were born. I was born in Mutengene or in Tiko, grew up in Mutengene, Boya, and then part of Limbe and Ombe. So it is basically in the southwest, and it is far away from northwest.
My credit just got finished.
Okay.
Yes, so please,
but
I wanted to know the topic of the day.
Our topic of discussion, yes. What accounts for the drop in moral values and the high rate of juvenile delinquency? Please use your volume set.
Please, can you off your radio?
Lower your volume completely so that I can listen to us on the phone directly. Yep, now that was good. So, what accounts for the drop in moral values? Hola. All right. So you reduce your volume and you come back. So I was saying that we grew up really very far away from the village. Well, the first early of us who were born, because of the younger ones went to the village early enough for them, lucky them. But the early of us were in the south, and our parents brought up the initiative of imposing country weekend in the house.
Wow.
So Saturdays and Sundays that we don't go to school, we were obliged to speak the dialect. And you know that you really want to play with your sister, you really want to play, you have something to say, and then as you say, you start counting words. You start counting one word in the dialect. You pick this one this way, you pick this one this way, and then you say it. That's how. And then bizarrely enough, we thought that they were doing us harm because it was reducing our playing rate. Or you want to play your dose, you want to come to one person, you have to calm down and start speaking in the dialect. But when we went to the village the first time, I think I was almost already grown up, like 7-8 years. We went to the village, and those village children were speaking and trying to insult us in the mother tongue. Said that is do and when they come on so they don't know, so they tried to insult us in the mother tongue and talking down on us. And we responded in the dialect, and they were like, "Hey, push your table that. Hey, they know the dialect, yes." So, and they were so surprised to hear us speaking about the dialect. And to forever and ever, I'll keep saying thank you to my father. May I so continue to rest in peace, Papa, and where you are. They did well to have taught us to speak the dialect and to love Achu.
Wow.
I remember that we didn't like Achu when we were growing up. I'm sorry. I know you're drinking colleague Mr. Young who testify to this summary that we didn't like Achu. So what they would do is my father used to rear a lot of fowls and ducks. So there will be a lot of meat in the pan.
Oh,
but
for you to eat
your meat, you have to finish your Achu first. Come on, calculation. This is how you're putting one finger like that. You struggle your one finger, you put it up to your mouth, it's not going. Let's have a call on the line. Oh, we have two calls at the same time. Hello, good evening, you're welcome.
Yes, Madam.
Okay, Marvel, you're welcome back. So today we are discussing on the rapid drop in moral values and standards of living in a society. More and more youth are derailing from our cultures and traditions. What do you think can be accountable for that?
What I can say is normally the youths of our days, they have to normally go back to the village and learn first the tradition.
Okay.
Yes, they have to go and learn the tradition first. Then the parents will teach their children how to speak the dialect constantly.
Yeah.
Because if the father does not teach the son, you might want to say something in your dialect to the child, or push you never tell him, the child will go and say the speaking, which will not be good.
Mm-hmm.
So the parents first have to teach your children how to speak the dialect, then learn them the traditional meals.
Yeah.
So that they should not embarrass them somewhere.
So, as somebody who is living in this generation, do you think that you are proud of who you are? You're proud of your culture and your traditions. Do you speak your mother tongue? You dress in the traditional regalia, in your traditional
No,
clothes?
I am very happy to be a child of Com. Then I am also happy to eat fufu and
Kubai numbers.
Yes, they say Abai numbers.
Abai numbers.
Yes, Abai numbers. Then so I'm very happy for that.
And you want to pass it down to your own children as well.
Yeah, no, they have to imitate their father's culture.
Very important.
So I'm very happy.
And even if it happens that you marry a girl who is not from Com, for example, would you want to blend the two cultures in your home?
But if I get married to somebody that is not from my tribe,
yep,
I have to impose that she should learn my tribe before I will also follow her in her tribe.
All right.
Wow.
But then you have the two, right?
Yes, I will have the two.
I mean your children, of course.
Yes, they will have the two tribes in my house.
Great, you're doing
Then the
well.
priority should become first.
Of course, you are the man. You are the man of the house. Hope you'll be available to teach them, of course, the different traditions of Com.
Yes, I'm very happy. I will teach them.
Right, great. So you can say hi to 3 people before you leave us and come back whenever.
I don't have a lot of people. First, I will give hi to Akante Promise.
Promise Akante.
Yes, I will give hi to Mr. Samari, my ever chairman.
Chairman.
Yes, that's the chairman himself. I will give hi to my fellow sister beside you.
Yeah.
Good evening. Good evening.
You're welcome. Nice meeting you on phone.
All right. So you come back whenever you feel as to add something, right?
Okay, I'll add something later on.
And while at it, let's meet Salomon. Salomon, do you have somebody on the other side of the phone as well? Let's take another caller on the other side of the phone. What do you think accounts for the rapid decline and disconnection between our youth and the cultures and traditions?
You know, these things like that, they are always values that are handed over to generations. You know, and one of these values, they are moral values. We have spiritual values, we have moral value, even though everything is based on spirituality, because the spiritual controls the physical. No matter what happens, but just know that the spiritual controls the physical. So you discover that there are many things which have gone wrong in this generation today because our parents of old, most of our parents of old, they failed to hand over to us what made them to have the high moral value they had. Now, you will understand that if your mother was a medical doctor, they said, I just want to quote, and there are some things she did that warranty her to reach the height she reached in her generation. And now you are growing as a young lady from her hands, and you are aspiring to continue with the legacy that your mother kept. You want your mother's name to continuously be heard because of the things she did as far as medicine is concerned. Then you have a lot to learn from your mother. It's as simple as going to her and telling her, Mama, what is the secret behind this height that you are operating in? And that's what many of our parents, they fail to hand over to us. There are some secrets that our parents had that made them what they were, that made them keep the integrity they had, that made them maintain the morals they had. But the sad part of it is that they didn't hand these secrets over to us. They didn't hand the secret over to us, and that's why we cannot maintain the values they maintain. We cannot keep the morals they kept. We cannot defend the morals they defended, because we lack these keys. We lack this doctrine. We lack these teachings. So that's why you see in Africa, for example, I'm taking long. I know you requested for 45 seconds, but I'm taking long so that from what I will explain, you then can use the 45 seconds and say whatever you want to say in the FM. Now you know what to say, what and what not to say. So you understand that, for example, many of us in Africa, we are suffering from some setbacks because of the bad foundation that many of our parents they laid. You see some people, they are suffering in marriages today because their parents did not lay them a good foundation for marriage. You see some people that are going through all manner of spiritual battles today because their parents did not lay them a good foundation for that. But you see some privileged ones which parents had laid a good foundation and they are walking in that height. Let me come now in the domain of spirituality. For example, I, for one, am fighting a lot of spiritual battles today for me to rise because my parents did not lay a good foundation. But there are also some people who don't struggle to serve God at all. Not that they have money or something, they don't just struggle to serve God at all. No battles to fight. Why? Because their parents had already fought the battle for them. Their parents had already defeated what should have fought them. And now their parents have simply handed them the secrets to maintain victory. This thing, I hope this guy understands this thing. See, these things are many. Just try to reason it out and then you can now use the 45 seconds and say what you want to say.
So it is me that are calling you like that. I'm telling you, this is my origination for Facebook. Worry, Thomas more around. Well, if you're just joining us, this is Cultural Vibes coming away live on 88.4. This is Royal FM, and we are all very delighted to have you in our company. If you're watching us live on Facebook, then you see that Salomon is not allowed us to be
the sources. And where is the sources? Our villages. Because from our villages you are going to have a lot to learn about, especially when you are in the middle of the forest. That's I want to say the savage one. Real wildlife. When you stand and you feel that spirit of wow, you are away from cars, you're away from TVs, you're away from
all the hustle and bustle of
the stress up.
All you can hear are the birds, the crickets, and then the sound of silence. The beautiful sound of silence.
And from there, you are going to feel like
where you can move bare feet.
Yeah, very important. Ground. Very important.
Love that aspect.
And now when you move like that, people are saying that no, you are already in the sacred society. Why moving barefooted is very, very important.
All right, let me tell you something. When I was in Bafoussam in the palace for the Nyang festival, the messengers and most of the other people who had things to do, even the king himself, it was barefooted, and they explained that they have to be barefoot because they need to connect with the ancestors. When you put on those shoes, it's blocking the message from the ancestors. So if you want to reconnect with the ancestors and to get the direct line with the gods, you are simply going to wear yourself the way the ancestors recognize you, your flesh, your blood touching the ground. It has a powerful healing power. It has this, it's a whole therapy. Now those who do this kinesiotherapy, they will tell you that just the aspect of putting your feet on the ground, not in the house, in the village which has cement and tiles. No, don't go and put your feet on the tiles in the village thinking that you're doing something good. Do it, put your feet on the ground like in the yard, and let the energies just connect. You are sending out your pushing
negativity,
out the negative energies, and
Yeah.
then you're resourcing with the positive energies that you're tapping from the ground. So it's very important, Jermaine. I think you are absolutely right. Let's find time to go back to the source, reconnect to energy, reconnect to our source. I just wish I could just go back.
Just
to
imagine
Lake Awing and just touch that water. All that water.
the
is
green
so-
vegetation, Promise.
and Awing is
Waterfalls.
Awing is
Oh.
exquisitely beautiful. I will invite you to visit Awing whenever you have time. It's extremely beautiful. You have the lake, and the water is just so comforting. Then the landscape, the hills, the waterfalls.
It has
It
been long,
goes
Promise.
up and down. So you can
Promise,
actually
can you
stand up
imagine?
and see something down. Like, which place is that? But of course, it's where you're still going to. It's a very
Promise,
beautiful
can you
place.
imagine since I left the village, it has been long, I do not even swim again.
And your village is not even far. It needs all. These are people who take bike to go to their village. You don't talk about all who take bus and travel overnight.
And when you go and do the bus, you see, take another one.
You do another bus, then take another taxi, then
Before
take
bike.
bike now before go. Yeah, I'm warning you, Franklin. Okay, you're going to complete the program. Susan Nanyonge, you are a younger person. You think that you can, in your own way, you and people have your WhatsApp groups of your age groups. Do you think that you're going to help to make your mates see that loving culture and tradition is not a bad thing?
Yeah, it's true. I'm kind of working on that already. With the few, in the 1 or 2 ways I discuss with my mates when I make them to understand that they should not be, let's say, kind of shying away from 1 or 2 things. But I have other persons who are really, really, really proud of their culture, of their tradition, and they are, in fact, they are so versed with everything that has to do with their tradition, especially when it comes to the mother tongue. And I would personally say it's not, we usually say sometimes that we cannot give what we don't have. So if I'm not able to give something to somebody, it's maybe because I don't have it. So there are some things that we are trying to learn on our own personal basis to be able to secure this treasure of tradition.
We have to try our best, no matter how hard it may seem. Let's try to begin by loving. You know that when there is a will, there is definitely a way. Crispin, do you think that you're going to improve in how much mother tongue you speak and how much you are attached to culture?
Yes, I believe that I'm going to improve because I am really improving. Yeah, because compared to,
I think that
as
this
compared to
cultural vibes need some recognition.
Yeah,
and
because
international-
me attending cultural vibes is actually like an assignment every Wednesday. Yeah, before
and
coming,
you try your best to do
before
your
coming on Wednesday, I asked my mom, "Ma, how did they say again that this?" Like I used to say.
She's so impressed.
Yeah, she was so impressed. The first day I even spoke like many words. I went to the house and was like, "Hey, Jesus!" And that is things like when you say learn in the dialect, we call it yi. So now I did not know. So when I used to say learn, she was like, "No, they just borrowed that one and put it in English. Now they say abo yi." So now
you see,
Wow.
I had to
begin with
begin.
the accent.
Yes.
That's right.
So of course I'm going to improve, and concerning the traditional I'm going to like, I like them, though I don't have them, but I'll
No
continue
worries,
wearing
you
my
get
color.
Franklin, you're going to give us the last word before you leave the studio.
Okay, yeah, for us in Seoul community here, especially here in Yaoundé, we do have the way we take care of it. That is, we have our meetings where we encourage speaking the dialect.
Yeah.
We also encourage people to bring in their children to the community. Like I earlier said, some years back, I used to gather some little children and teach them the dialect. There are some of them now who speak the dialect very fluently. Also, we have our cultural dances around here, but it's not like every Soman is there. It's not like every Soman is there, and I even encourage other tribes that they should create it. At times, we always say we are proud of who we are. There's a particular statement we used to use in those days, proudly so. Proudly so was just an idea of bringing in someone to know that you belong to this particular place. And so, as a whole, I would like to indicate and so engulfs the whole of Bui division. the whole of Boy Division. So every culture, every dance group that is found there, we always try to practice it out of the place, so that those who are even born out of the village, they grew to know that this thing happens in my village. This happens in my village. It's only unfortunate that these days the route to the village is not all that passable. But we know that with time, and so man always have a pride when you attend. Then go and saw the
I know.
you know now.
I really
When you
wish
attend
we
and
do a
go and
program
saw. You
on
attend
cultural vibes of
the
Gonzo.
cultural week, you attend in Kar Ngamli Wong, you attend in because all those other fun norms that
It
make up
takes you very close to culture.
between
It's so beautiful.
ending November and early March, we always have cultural activities. You always see people moving up and down.
Let this thing come to an end. Let the roads be free. Let the roads be safe for some of us to go and enjoy culture. We are so desperate to enjoy culture in the best of its styles, and that's how we call it quit for this edition of Cultural Vibes. We had Salomon Isana, who was our audio and video editor, Carol Prudence, copyright clerk, Bertrand for coordination, and Reverend Pastor Emmanuel Noel Bisai for general supervision. My name is Promise Akante. If you do not know where you're coming from, you cannot know where you're going to. Have a nice evening. Bye bye until Wednesday again.